Okay, now you can add what? You can add certain conditions also for the event to trigger. Okay, so let's say you have what? You have certain additions that you can do for screen fields, such as on input, on request. Okay, these are what? These are two additions that you can do. How do you add it? Field name, module name, then you say on input. Means unless the user provides input in the field, even if you press F1, this event will not trigger. Unless the user has input in this field, you added on input, this event will not trigger. Why? This condition checks if there is a value in the field or not. The field mentioned here, if this field has value, then only this module will trigger. Why? You have added an extra condition called as on input. What is the behavior of on input? Let me explain you here. Okay, field conditions, we can say. What is that? What are the two? Very important, guys, very important. Okay, you may be asked to explain the difference between on input and on request also. What is that? On input. Okay, so if you add this on input after, now this is available only for specific field. Okay, so what is the syntax for this? I'll first explain you the syntax. The syntax is field, okay, field name, then module name, then you have what? On input option. Okay, this is the syntax. What is the syntax? This is the syntax for on input. Okay, similarly you have what? On request. Now what is the difference? On input triggers, let me write here, triggers if there is a value in the field mentioned, where this f name in the field mentioned, let me write here f name. Okay, whatever field you will mention here, if this field has value, then only this module will trigger. Mod underscore name will trigger. Triggers if there is a value in the field mentioned, f name. Okay, so you may assign the value as default value also. Before the screen appears, let's say you have assigned a value. Okay, so that field has a value now. Now you are having a module in PAI. You are saying field name. Field name is, let's say, employee ID. Module name is like, validate employee ID. Now why is this important? Now let me tell you an example. Example is, let's say if you are logging into your Gmail account. Okay, you will pass your Gmail ID. Now without passing any value, let's say you have not passed your email ID, neither you have passed your password. Okay, now if you see, they have, like, many login websites have changed the login pattern. They're not asking username and password in the same screen. Now they'll first ask you to provide the employee ID, then employee ID is validated, then they'll ask you the password in the next screen, right? You may have observed this. What is that? What does it mean? Before you pass any value in the field, there is no point in triggering the validation. Getting my point? You have not passed any value and you are clicking login, so it should not go and try to validate that. There's no point in validating blank value. That is when you should not trigger itself. The validation should not even trigger. If you want to have Similar functionality for your fields, you will have to add just this keyword on input. You may want to validate a field. Let's say you are saying field name, module name. If you will write this way, whether your field will have value or not, it will trigger for that field. But you want to make it more advanced, and you say no, unless my field will have value, I'll not trigger this module. So what you have to add? You have to add this on input condition. You will say field name, module name on input. Means unless the input is provided, this will not trigger. On input, when the input is provided, then only it will trigger. So this input can be a default value also. Okay, so when you have created a screen in the PBO itself, you are assigning some value before the screen field has appeared, and you have not changed the value after the screen has appeared. And when you are clicking, let's say the button validate kind of thing, or you're pressing enter, then also your on input will trigger. This module will trigger. Why? It just validates if the field has a value or not. Okay, it just validates if the field has value or not. If the field has value, non-initial value, then this will trigger. Remember the point. What is on input? It will just validate if the field has non-initial value. Okay, then this will trigger. Now, what is on request? There's a minor difference, and the difference is this triggers if there is a value provided or changed after the screen appeared. This is the difference, means it is requesting. So default values may be assigned, but this will not trigger what? On request. On request will trigger only when you provide the value after the screen has appeared, or when you change the value. Then only on request will trigger. Understood the difference? This is very important, guys. On input and on request. This is one of the favorite questions of interviewers. Tell me the difference between on input and on request. So on input triggers when on input validates what? The field should just have value. On the request validates what? Not just value. It also validates the value is changed before the screen appeared or after the screen appeared. So only when the value changed after the screen appeared, then only your on request will trigger. Okay, we'll practically see it. Don't worry. I'll show you the triggering of on input and on request practically also. But you have to understand the difference. Triggers if there is a value provided or changed after the screen appeared in the field mentioned. Clear? On input, on request. So you can, and the syntax goes the same way: on input, on request. Only if the field contains value other than its initial value, that is on input. You can read the, let's say, theory part from here. We'll see the demo. Don't worry, we'll see the demo. Then you have what? On request. When user has entered something in the field, means user has to enter, user has to change the value, then only. And let's say one more thing, user has changed the value. Let's say field has appeared. Now you have changed the value. You have provided the employee ID. This is also changing the value because previously it was initial. Now you have provided the employee ID and pressed enter. So on the request will trigger. Now without changing value once more, you will press what? Enter again. So if the value is not changed, second time on the request will not trigger. But on input will keep on triggering unless you make it initial. And as long as the value is there in the field, on input will keep on triggering. If you press enter 10 times, it will trigger 10 times. But on request will trigger only when it changes the value, or first time it is changed from the initial to some value. Getting it? So it triggers only for manual input. Remember that no default value can trigger this. And syntax is already seen. Field name, module name, on the request. Just the keyword has to be added. Okay, now we'll see this part. Actually, multiple fields and all chain in chain later, but let us create few. Let me write a simple program. So if you remember, we had created what one program yesterday, right? Module code program demo. We'll try to refer the same program. How do I run the program from here also? You can execute the program from here also. Unless you have a transaction, this will not execute. This is already clear. So if you already have a transaction, you can say execute in a new window. So it will launch your program. See, we had created these fields for our screen. First name, last name, save button, cancel button. I do not see these buttons on my program. Okay, so I'll have to create them manually. Okay, now if I double click on the screen, this is our screen we created, right? If you remember, so it all automatically has what two events mentioned, and just now we have learned that these two events are mandatory or compulsory for any screen we create. Without these two events, our program will not be working. Now I want to write some code in the PBU. How do I write? Let's say I just want to assign some value. I'll say module name. You can name any, you can give any name, okay? Or you can say assign anything, assign value. That's all. You will double click this, say create. You can create in main program also, or you can create what includes. So the recommendation is always create include with these names. So it's a program name underscore PBO. All the PBO modules will now go to this include. Okay, just remember program name, complete program name underscore just PBO, so that if you have 10 modules in PBO, all which should go to single include, PBO include. Okay, yes, I want to create this include. I'll explain you more about include, okay, when we'll write create include separately, or I can explain you here also. So includes are what? Includes are non-executable programs. It is one of the types of program actually, non-executable global type of programs. You can just remember this part as of now. So observe one thing, as soon as I implemented this module, it has automatically added the keyword output. Where has this word come from? Tell me why this word is output here and not input. Exactly, because this module is where this module is under PBO, and every module which is the part of PBO automatically adds, when implemented, it automatically adds what? One keyword, that is output. Now I can write my ABAP code here. Now what I wanted to show you, I wanted to show you that you cannot use keywords here directly. Let's say if I want to declare something, can I use data lv underscore name type char 30? Can I use this? Let's check. Yeah, see, it says data statement is not defined, but data is a keyword. It is saying data statement is not defined. Why? Because it is a flow logic. You have to follow the rules, and the allowed keywords are only the list of those 9 keywords, right? We have seen just now, like only these 9 keywords are allowed, and data is not one of them. Do you see data anywhere here? No, so it will not allow me to use that data keyword. If I want to declare anything, where should I do that? I should do that in the top include. How do I create an include, top include? Right click, say create include. I can create global include. What should be the naming convention? Name, program name, ZITUX underscore MPP underscore demo 1. Complete program name and then underscore top. Okay, this is the naming convention, basic naming convention. The type is, see, include program is the type, one of the type of program. So I am creating this as a local object. Anything I want to declare now should be part of this global include, top include. Getting it? Just activating the top include. We don't want to declare anything, but that I just wanted to show you. See, it has created one node for us. Top include. It has created one node with PBO mode top, include also. So it does what? It automatically creates. See, we have one PBO module. So it has created one folder PBO module. That is why we need what? Repository browser like this, so that we can navigate quickly. Because this screen programming will have what? Lot many elements such as includes, transactions, PBO modules, screens. If you want to go to assign value, you'll say assign value. Now I want to assign the value to my field. What is the field name? I'll have to get the field name first, because we have learned that if you want to work with the fields on the screens and you want to refer them in your program, you should have what? Identical names. Yesterday only we have learned this, right? So guys, you have to revise the theory also plus practical also learned yesterday. So what is the field name? IU underscore F name and IU underscore L name. So if you want to work with those fields, we first have to declare them. So let me declare two fields. I'll say data IU underscore F name type iTUX underscore, what is that? Table name employee master hyphen emp name, like that. Is it? No, I can, we can use that element. This is also fine actually. It is not giving that error, syntactical error. We cannot change the syntax for include actually. Remember that. Syntax check is not allowed for include. So I'll see. You can go and check in the table also. We can declare this way also. Table name hyphen field name. We have learned that, but let me go to the table. Employee name. It's not actually F name or name. So I can refer this as well. I can refer this as well. Okay, and directly activate it. If there will be any error, it will give you during the activation. If it is activated, that means all successful. Good. Now all you have to do is just make this include as the top. Okay, because we created it later. The first thing you should create is top include actually. That is why it went down. So you can manually also make it appear in the top. Okay. Understood? Why did I do that? Because your declaration should be done first before you call any modules, because in the modules you may refer data declared globally. That is why I change the position of the top include to appear before the PBO top include. Okay, now I will go inside the PBO module. How do I go? Double click on the screen, assign value. I'll go inside assign value, and now I can do what? I can say IU underscore F name is equal to what? Such an IU underscore L name is equal to, let's say this. This is also include. If this IU underscore F name and L name wouldn't have declared in the top include, this would have given us error, because those are just screen fields. Screen field names cannot be directly referred here. We have to declare identical names. That is what we have learned yesterday, right? Now how to activate the whole program? Right click, always right click and activate from the global program. It will activate all the inactive elements in the program actually. So always do what? Right click and activate, and just press enter. It will list all the inactive elements. Press enter. It will activate all of them, and then you can do what? You can rerun the program. Now I'm putting what? Let's say I am setting a breakpoint here. Right click, execute in a new window. See, before it showed the screen, it has gone to this debugger, and I can see the values assigned Sachin Tendulkar. Understood, guys? How and how it is triggering? How it is triggering? See, it has triggered what? PBO once more. Why? Because we have learned that every action taken on screen triggers PI, and we do not have anything on PI. That is why it has triggered PBO once more. Getting it? Now let us write something in PI. How do I write it? I'll have my module such as module validate field, like something like this. Double click, say yes, and create one more include for all the PAI modules. So remove this and say PAI. Okay, so that all the modules in PAI will be part of this include. Okay, yes. So do you see it has added the keyword input automatically? All right. So whatever you want to do inside the PAI module, you can write the code here. You will just say message. Okay, now you can have what? Case. Why? You have what? You have this case on SciUCom. Why? You have two buttons on the screen. Let's say save and cancel. Save is what? Save is where we'll just give a message. Let's say message save. Just checking how does it trigger. We are not writing, let's say, logical part of code. Save clicked, type I, cancel click. We just want to make sure that when I click save, it gives me save message. When I click this, it gives me that message. Okay, just activating this. All right, let me activate. Always remember to activate it on the main program, otherwise your changes will not be applicable. Many a times your changes will not be applicable. See, we have had two inactive parts. So activate always from the program level. Right click, activate, it will activate all the paths. Now I will do what? I will run it. I will set a breakpoint in PAI to see what happens when I click a button, which event is triggered. Okay, so let me set a breakpoint here and I will run the program. Execute in a new window. So it is going to what? It is going to PBO. How can you make sure? Because it is output. It is assigning values. So assign the value for IOF name and IOL name is blank. It is assigned the value. Now it will show up the screen. So Sachin and Tendulkar are being shown here. Now I'm pressing this button. Okay, save button. Clicked. See which module is triggered. Sorry, which event is triggered. Process after input. So any action taken on screen will trigger what? PAI. Now let's go inside PAI. Now what is the value for SciUCom? It is the function code for our button. Okay, this code is not yet here. Okay, I'll have to declare it locally also. SciUCom save, because I clicked what? Save button. So it will trigger, it'll give me this message, save clicked. Now, is it done? See, it is going to PBO once more. Do you see? It has come to PBO once more. That is why in the very first slide I showed you, it triggers PBO first, then it goes to PI. After every PI, it will go to PBO once more. And we have seen that practically also now. This is a validation of the statement I told you. that it goes to PBO once more before the screen is shown again. So it has done this way. If you click cancel, it will go to PAI. Execute the part of cancel, again go to PAA, PBO. Now it will go to PBO once more. See, it is going to PBO once more. This is the cycle. Every time PAI triggers, press enter. I press just enter, didn't do anything. Okay, it will go to PBO again. Now what is happening? What is happening? See, if I remove this Sachin and I press enter, it is doing what? It is still triggering everything. Okay. Now let us see how can I make them trigger only on certain conditions. So let me do this. Okay. So I will have to have what? Let's say module check input. I want to do what? I want to apply field. I can use this field, right? Field name. What is the field name? IU underscore F name. Module name. I'm saying on input. Okay. We'll understand when does it trigger. I'll not create new include because it is PAI. I'll select the PAI include. I'll say implement this in that include. Okay. So I'm implementing it in the same include. I will write my code here just to check value is available. We're just trying to understand when does it trigger. Okay, sorry. Right click, activate. So I will set a breakpoint for this. Include this is also like it does not add any extra things. It is just saying input because it is showing that this module is also part of PAI. Okay. Now we are trying to understand what sometimes it does not allow you to activate. It says user is already editing, so you have to go to display mode to activate this. So right click and activate, go to display mode first and then activate. It will activate the things and you can go back to your change mode. Okay, I'm activating this. So after the activation of the program, we'll run the program once again to see the difference between two modules. One module without on input addition, the one we have the one we have seen, right? And the other one is with on input. Let it activate. Okay, so let me run this and we will see how to okay, so how do I run it? Right click and execute in a new window. Okay, so I will see it has triggered what it has triggered now the first module in PBO. So it is executing, done. It will appear, the screen will appear. Now I'm clicking what? Save. So it is going to what? Which module? Validate field. Okay, I'll not go inside because I know what will happen. It will show me that message. This message is shown. Now it will go to the next module. What is the next module? Check input. Will it go inside? It is applied on IO underscore F name, and IO underscore F name has value or not? Yes, it has values. So on input do will check what? On input will just check if this has value or not. So it seems it has value. Okay, that means this is being triggered. This is being triggered. Why? Because IOF name had, so value is available. Value is available actually. The message should be. Now PBO will trigger again. It is now see what I'm doing. I am removing this and I'm saying save. Okay. So let me execute. This will be shown obviously. Oh, IOF name value is not cleared. Okay, I'm clearing the value. Now see if I press F5, it is not going inside. It didn't go inside. Did it go inside? No. Why? Because on input will check if this has non-initial value. Non-initial value is the condition. So because this IO underscore F name is not having value, that is why on input will not make this trigger. This will stop. Means this will not allow that particular part to get triggered. Getting it? This is the use of on input. This is the use of on input. Okay. Now let me show you one more thing. We'll do what? We will go to PBO and I'll remove that assignment actually. We'll pass the values runtime. Let me pass it for one field and not for the other one. Let me just comment this. Save this. I'll have one more include here. One more module. I'll say field IO underscore L name module check request on request. I'm not checking input now, I'm checking for request. Let this be implemented. Double click. Yes, say yes. I want to make this as part of PI include. I'll select PAI. I'll say okay. Yes, I want to implement this. I want to change the save the changes. Okay. This has added input. Now I'm saying I'm just giving a message because we just wanted to understand how and when does it trigger. Value is changed. Type I. This is also is. Now save this. Go to display mode and right click and activate everything. Because this has changed a lot. We have changed PBO, PAI, screens, too many things. So activate everything in one click. Right click and activate. So it will activate all the sub parts of the program. Okay. See, 3-4 things have to be activated. Now I will execute the program and we will try to understand the difference between on input and on request. So if you can recall the concept, on input triggers even for the default value, but on request, though the value may be there, it will not trigger unless the value is changed. Okay, unless the value is changed, it will not trigger. So we'll try to understand the concept from the debugger also. So let me set a breakpoint for on request also. It is loading, it is taking more time than usual. It is already active actually. Alright, so everything is active. I am setting the breakpoint here as well as here. Right click, execute in a new window. Alright, so it has triggered the first part. Now the first field is assigned with the value. Okay, I'm clicking enter only. I'm pressing enter. Okay, not even clicking. SciUCom is not triggered. Sorry, it's not having any value because pressed enter. IO underscore F name had value. Do you see? It had value. That is why on input triggered. And we can see this message value is available. But I go inside, see on request for IO underscore L name. What is IO underscore L name? Does it have value? No value. It will not trigger. Now I'm passing value. Could be like in anything. You can pass anything, any value. Press enter once more. Will it trigger on input? Yes, because it has value. Value is valuable. Oh, IOL name has not value. Okay, it's not capturing it. We'll have to assign it. Don't worry. But H, let's see. The value is changed. Okay, the value is changed, so it will trigger. Change request will trigger. Value is changed. It has triggered. Save once more. Now it has assigned what value as Tendulkar. Let us see what happens now. Save clicked. Okay. Will it trigger? Yes, because it is still having input value. Now, will this trigger? Because the value is not changed, right? Previously, so it was Tendulkar only. So if you press enter 10 times also without changing the value, it will not trigger unless you change even at least. If I add one number also and I click save, now see, you will understand now actually. Will it trigger? Yes, it will show me the value is available. Now will it trigger? Why it is not capturing the value? Yes, because I made it as Tendulkar 1 and not Tendulkar. I made it as Tendulkar 1. That is why change request has been triggered. Values changed. Okay. Now without, I'll try to remove all the breakpoints actually. It is save clicked. Let's remove this. Let's remove this. We'll understand better now. Value is available. Only save click and value is available is triggering. Is it triggering value change? No. Let me remove this one and I'll press save again. So save is clicked, value is available, and change is also clicked. Change also triggered. If I press once more, save is clicked, value is available. See, change is not triggered. Why? I did not change the Tendulkar. I still see even if I press 10 times also, this will trigger. If I remove Sachin, now I press this, save is clicked, even input did not trigger. Even input did not trigger. And this has Sachin has come from where? Because it has executed PBO once more and PBO it has assigned Sachin once more. But when I remove and press save, only save is clicked, even input is not triggering. Why? I remove the input and change is not triggering. Why I'm not changing the value? Even if I add 1, 2, 3, whatever it is, even if I remove, let's say, if I just, because I removed AR now, because and the value means changed, and I have removed this input. So let's see what triggers. Now tell me what will trigger first. Save is clicked. Now next, value is available or value is changed. What will trigger, or both will trigger? Yes, tell me. Value is changed will trigger. Why? Value is in input. There's no input available in first name, so with that will not trigger. And I change the value, so only value is changed will trigger. Understood the difference? Now if I remove this, again click this. Now what will trigger next? Tell me. Value is available or value is changed or nothing? Why nothing? Because I've not changed the value and there's no input in the first name. So very good. It will not trigger anything. Getting it? Understood the difference between just adding on input and on request? That is how you can validate your things based on the additions. Okay, based on the, so you can make your module trigger the way you want. Okay, if you want to trigger it on just value being provided, or if you want to trigger it when you change the value. So if you have to implement user ID and password validation, right? Will you go for on input or on request? What should be the better option? Let's say you want to validate user ID. On input or on request. Think of a logical. You can say anything, right? You're not like, if you may make a mistake also. Anyone? You may give explanation also. Can you not think of any reason why on request? Tell me why on request. What will happen if you use on? No, no, it's not about numeric and all that. It is on the request. Your correct answer is correct. Why? Because see, I'll pass use user ID as, let's say user ID. User ID can be number also. Let's say user ID is 123. Okay, and the correct user ID is 12345. I'm just passing 123 and I'm pressing enter. So it is going and validating it for the first time. For the first time, it will trigger, right? Because it was initial value, but the user input the value as 123. Now, without changing the value, if user presses enter once more, should it go and validate? No, it has validated already and said this is the value is incorrect. The employee ID is incorrect. So unless the user changes the input, the program should not go and validate once again the same value. There's no point, right? So unless he makes it 1 2 3 4, then press enter, then you go and validate. Okay, so even 1 2 3 4 is not valid, is let's say a valid employee ID or user ID. Then he will have to change once again. Then let's see, he makes 1 2 3 4 5, press enter, then the message will be user ID is valid, please provide the password, something like this. If you have to do, you should use on request. Otherwise, if you use on input, even if he provides 1 2 3 and keeps on pressing 1 2 3, let's say he keeps on pressing enter, every time he presses enter, he'll get a message saying employee ID 1 2 3 is invalid. Okay, next time he'll, without changing anything, he'll just press enter, again he'll get a message employee ID 1 2 3 is invalid. Why? Your validation is triggering every time he presses enter, because the field is having value 1 2 3. That is why on input and on request should be used based on the condition or requirement you have. Any question or doubt here until here, guys? Yes, any question or doubt? We have learned how to call, mention the modules, implement the modules, call the modules. We have learned how does it add output and input options, and we have seen the theory part for POH and POV, which we will see in the next session. Any question from anyone? Any doubt or question so far? No? Good. So from here onward, like for module pool programming, the way we are used to upload our normal report code, we had to upload only what? Only the program. But here we have to upload now screen designing also. Okay. So you have to see those things also in your student portal. Then we will upload the sample code as well as the code for your screenshot for your screen designing also. So we'll try to upload these things in the Word PDF document only, PDF file. So the complete code will be like all your module pool code, such as these, all the modules will upload one screenshot like this, so that you will have an idea what are the elements created, all the expanded elements. I'll double click on this program name and one screenshot like this, and then the code inside each include actually. So from here you should be able to understand that in the screen you will have to create what? These many modules in PBO. This module, the name should be assigned value. These many modules for PAI, and the code will be inside these includes. Okay, and this will be all will be in one Word document and converted to PDF that will be uploaded to your student portal. Okay, and you'll have to refer that from your student login. You'll have to access to practice the programs, module pull programs. Any question and doubts, you can, if you're not able to access something, you're not able to access the module pull screen or something, you have the tech support number. You can contact the person and ask the questions.